This question goes to Felix.
What are my favorite locations to watch?
What are your favorite spots to watch in the 2022 Winter Olympics?
Sports. Wow, that's a good question. That's a good question, and I'll give you a straight answer. I haven't watched squat with the 2022. I don't like cold weather. I don't want to go out in the snow. I'd rather go where it's warm, maybe go to the desert. I love going to Nevada. You can leave secrets there. You know, they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right?
Very clever.
There you go. Got that one out of the way. No, I really haven't watched the Olympics. You know, I think it's great that we're being represented. I think that it's fantastic that we're winning gold medals. I'd rather go to the racetrack. Thank you.
What motivates you to work hard in your life? Timo Linder.
What motivates me to work harder in my life? Wine. Wine in particular. So I was heading up to North Florida, and on the way there was a winery. My wife and I decided to stop off at the winery and sample the wine. We call ahead, make sure they're open. The guy answers. You can tell him he was a country boy. Gives us directions, never mind we have a GPS. I'm in a black sports car, going down this sandy dirt road, white dust. My car was white by the time I got there. I pull in. This guy comes out with overalls. Clearly, well, let me back up. It was a very pretty road, a lot of lilies on the side. When I pull up to his double-wide trailer, he comes out with overalls on. You know, howdy, come on in, come on in. And even though he was in a winery, I could see cows all over the place. I'm sure he was a cattleman. I'm not getting any laughs here. Come on, thank you. Thank you. But this is a true story. So we're there. Okay, the first two parts, but the rest of it is true story. And my time is up, but I gotta finish it. If I lose her, it is what it is. He says, come on, the grapes are out back. And I said, no, we're here to sample. He says, oh, no, we're here to pick. I said, grab a bucket. You want a small one or a large one? And I said, I want to sample you want. Oh, this is a dry county. Thank you.
Do you think it is hard to quit smoke? Caution Schiffer.
Sergeant at Arms and Speaker number 4.
Steven, do you think it is hard to quit smoking?
Harder to quit smoking? Then what? I actually quit smoking 20-something years ago. I was inveigled by getting pretty sick. I had an infection. This was back in the days we could get the really good cough syrup with the codeine. So I went down for like 2 weeks. When I woke up, I told myself, hey, if I could go for 2 weeks like this, then I don't need it anymore. And that was kind of a lie. I would smoke here and there, New Year's, and I would say that the last New Year's I smoked, I almost purposely smoked so much that I got sick the next day, and that was the last time I smoked. So it was hard.
This question goes to Mark Aaron. If you are dating a girl who is smoking and drinking, what do you think?
What do I think about smoking and drinking?
If you're dating a girl who is smoking and drinking,
Dating a girl smoking and drinking. That's a fascinating question.
don't mean to inveigle you. That's such a great question. In fact, I've never been a smoker, other than when I was in college, we did partake somewhat. But I was always quite a drinker for many years. And it's fascinating because where I grew up, everybody drank. I mean, I started drinking probably at 12 or 13, drinking beer, eventually moved up to rum or other liquors. But the fascinating thing to me now is I still go visit with some of my drinking friends. And I love hanging out with them for about 2 hours. And then it's like they start getting into that situation where they get liquored up, and it's just really hard for me. So that's what I regret, but thank you.
This question goes to our visit team. Team Wayne. Yes.
Point of order. They don't, he's on the list, new people.
Okay.
Like that, Linda Miller.
Linda Miller, yes. What is your favorite color? Do you believe your favorite color is related to your personality?
Wow, you know, that's just a little too basic, that question. So I'm going to revert back to the smoking question, because I have a lot to say about that one. When I was, 13, I got caught up in smoking. And cigarettes was a thing that my mother did. And I kind of followed suit with her little butts hanging out and cigarette butts. So I got caught up in smoking, and when I was 16, I was in a car filled with thuds like me, and everybody was smoking pot. And I knew, because I have an addictive personality, obviously with cigarettes, I put my head out the window so I could breathe and not get the smoke, pot-filled smoke in the car, so I would get high, or I wouldn't get high. So that saved me. So cigarette smoking only. But I did quit 20 years later.
Oh, good.
I did quit.
This question goes to Benjamin. If you are dating a girl who has tattoos on her arms and legs and chest, what do you think?
It's a good idea for one to translate here. Okay, well, this is something so common now. Back in the days, 10 or 15 years ago, whoever had a tattoo was sort of being in some other kind of business. I believe that not anymore, but I'm still glad that some companies have that policy that at least whoever wants to wear a tattoo has to have long sleeves. They're talking to the public. It seems to me that it is an image, and as we all know, fashion individuals use to wear whatever you feel is your personality. For example, being dressed up like this with a necktie gives the sensation of some type of personality that may not be true, but it is what you want to project. So whatever you wear, whatever you say, is a projection of your personality. Okay.
This question goes to Pat. You are dating a girl who has earrings in her nose and eyebrows. What do you think?
I'm thinking of what now?
You are dating a girl who has earrings in her nose and eyebrows. What do you think?
Thank you.
Toastmaster, fellow guests, fellow Toastmasters, and new members. I gotta tell you, whenever I see anyone, anything, any living creature with a ring in their nose, I'm thinking, wow, they just need to be led around. I'll do it. But, you know, the good thing is that we need to understand that anyone who projects a quality of inveigle is just simply trying to be a sycophant. And we should not stand for that. We should always go for honesty, sincerity. And whether it's pulling someone around by their nose ring, or whether it's leading them around by convincing conversations, that's what we're here in Toastmasters to learn. So I've been here for 41 years. I'm still trying to get to some of the places where some of the more accomplished Toastmasters are. Fellow Toastmasters.
This question goes to Linda. The Chinese have an old saying, over time, a steel bar will be grounded into a needle. What do you think?
Can you repeat that? I just didn't quite understand it.
The Chinese have an old saying, over time, a steel bar will be grounded into a needle.
Over time, the steel bar will be ground into a needle.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Well, good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning. Good morning.
Interesting saying that I've never heard before. And I would say, I think that says that we all work hard and we start out kind of rough. We start out rough, and as our lives go on, we get more focused. We get more focused into our lives and become better at what we do. And that's what I think that means. Thank you. Toastmasters.
This question goes to Mark here. Should you borrow money to spend on a fancy wedding or just have a simple wedding?
Should you borrow money to have a fancy wedding or just have a simple wedding?
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning.
Yes. Gosh, I don't even remember how long ago I got married. But it was interesting. My wife wanted a large wedding, and my father-in-law said, "Hey, Mark, how about I put a down payment on a house for you guys rather than do the expenses of a large wedding?" And in hindsight, I'm like, what was I freaking thinking about? That's the first thing that I should have done. As I'm walking out, as I'm standing at the entryway to go out into the wedding ceremony, my best friend comes up and he says, "You need to check your shoes." And I'm like, what? You need to check the bottom of your shoes. So I look at it, and on the bottom of both shoes was "Help me." So when we were going to get down on our knees, the back of the shoe was facing everybody. And literally, everybody is ready to go, and I've got to go stop everything and take this stuff off the bottom of my shoes. So by far, a simple wedding at the beach, and this is not, and what am I supposed to say the word of the day is? Inveigle. I'm not inveigling you.
What is the best advice you have received?
The best advice I received was from my mother to tell me to grind down an iron bar into a needle.
But there's a flip side of this philosophy. What if I don't want to be a needle? What if I want to be a strong iron bar? But my mom said, well, then you better pick. Stay an iron bar or a needle. Otherwise, you grind yourself down, wear yourself out, you grow old, you become a needle, and nobody will use the needle. Maybe someone needed an iron bar a long time ago. Lesson of the day, make your choices, don't listen to your mom. Thank you.
to Barney. Do you agree with this statement by Thomas Jefferson? I found that the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
I do not agree with that statement, and I'm going to explain why. In this past year, I did this whole I'm gonna grind and I'm gonna hustle and I'm gonna stay up all night long and I'm gonna do this and I'm not gonna sleep until I'm satisfied. And at the very end of it, I was doing so much and not everything got all of my attention. The things that I wanted to excel in, like Toastmasters or providing exceptional service to people, I couldn't do because I was spread so thin. And then this year I decided I'm gonna slow it down. I'm gonna create courses. I'm not gonna do one-on-one coaching. And I have been so much more successful being able to do that versus trying to do and spin all the wheels at once. So I don't agree with that statement. And I'm not trying to inveigle you all into creating courses, but I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
What is most important in your life?
What is most important in my life?
2 minutes.
In 2 minutes. Quick sidebar, just in case I didn't have enough time already. When I was a freshman in college, my very first class, I go in, and the professor says you will have 4 assignments this semester. They will be all 4 15-page papers, one of them on the meaning of life. All that to say, this goes back to my icebreaker. What is the meaning of life and who am I? What I do know is what is most important in my life. That's my family. That's love. Every morning here, we wake up, we come, and we say a prayer. Now, we may not all be religious, may not all follow a faith or spirituality, but we do have a purpose. Mine's love. I believe in God, yes, and God is love. So what's most important to me is love, and the people that I love. And the people that I love are family, and family can look like my blood, they can look like people here, or strangers around the world. So love, that's most important.
This question goes to Kattelmann. Do you agree there is a Bible verse? While the wicked are before me, I was mute with silence. If some people do something wicked things to you, do you speak up or do you keep silent?
Oh, that's a question. I don't know if I'll invite people on that, but it depends on the situation. Because if it's something where it could be life-threatening to me, then no, I wouldn't say anything. But one thing I always remember, one thing my aunt said, that, sometimes people do things to you, but don't worry about it because God will take care of it. And I believe that because throughout my life, for example, one time, one of my colleagues, I taught science, for those who don't know, I'm a retired teacher. And it's in the morning and we're rushing and we have what is called homeroom, where we take care of the students, and I had to go to the lab because I was a science teacher. And she was so upset, she came in and she was screaming at me in front of my students. And I was so focused on what I was doing, and next door, the school aide heard her screaming at me, and she came in and she spoke to her. And then the principal saw that my schedule, the way it was running, it was difficult to do, and plus I was a chapter leader at that time, so I shouldn't have that schedule. So now this young teacher wound up having my homeroom, so she wound up having my job, and I didn't have to say a word. So,
Who want to ask this question? Pursue girls and embrace having an open mind in dealing with foreign countries and cultures. Last question, who want to ask? Volunteer, who have not asked?
There you go. Good morning.
What's the question?
Pursue growth and embrace having an open mind in dealing with the foreign countries and the cultures.
Pursue growth, have an open mind.
Other cultures and countries.
Right.
Different people.
Oh, okay, so, all right, I think that, in understanding of that statement, so I think, I'm not from this country, right? So I've been here, I moved down here since, 2010, and, I have been learned a lot of things that something, if you wanted it, you really had to, work towards it, so, so I understand. I think that if you sometimes if you work towards those dreams, or sometimes that does not happen, you really have to keep pushing. That's what
Let's take a 2 minutes break. Is everyone qualified?
Yes.
Let's vote for 2 and take a 2 minutes break.